Hello and welcome. You're watching NDTV. I'm Gargi Rawat. Our top story now: in India-China ties, which were abnormal since April 2020, since the clashes that took place in Galwan, have improved recently, is what External Affairs Minister S Jaishankar told the Lok Sabha today, explaining that continuous diplomatic engagement since then has set our ties in the direction of some improvement. India remains committed, he said, to engaging with China through bilateral talks to arrive at a fair, reasonable and mutually acceptable settlement for the border issue. It's, however, evident, he told Parliament, that management of border areas will require further attention in light of recent experiences.
The House is aware that our ties have been abnormal since 2020, when peace and tranquility in the border areas were disturbed as a result of Chinese actions. Recent developments that reflect our continuous diplomatic engagement since then have set our ties in the direction of some improvement. The House is cognizant of the fact that China is an illegal occupation of 38,000 square kilometers of Indian territory in Aksai Chin as a result of the 1962 conflicts and the event that preceded it. Furthermore, Pakistan illegally ceded 5,180 square kilometers of Indian territory to China in 1963, which has been under its occupation since 1948. India and China have held talks for multiple decades to resolve the boundary issue. While there is a line of actual control, LAC, it does not have a common understanding in some areas. We remain committed to engaging with China through bilateral discussions to arrive at a fair, reasonable, and mutually acceptable framework for a boundary settlement.
All right, let's go across to Ghazali now for more. And Ghazali, a comprehensive statement made by the External Affairs Minister. Take us through the highlights.
See, two things. One, he started off with acknowledging the fact that how China has been occupying the land in Aksai Chin, and that it still remains a fact that has been acknowledged by the government. The second, that how, despite all these hostilities in 2020, the External Affairs Minister said that despite COVID challenges and logistical challenges, our army maintained to thwart their attempts to occupy more land. But the main highlight of this statement was that India is still committed to improve its relations with China, and that is why the back channel talks continued, leading to this major breakthrough of achieving the status quo regarding the patrolling around the LAC areas, which has been restored, which was earlier before the Galwan clash happened in 2020. And he also said that in future, after the Prime Minister has met the Chinese President Xi Jinping in Kazan on the sidelines of BRICS in Russia, the External Affairs Minister also met the Foreign Minister of China, and now he said that there has been an understanding has been reached wherein the special representatives and the Foreign Secretary level mechanism will be convened soon. So in future now, to ensure that this entire development or a positive development between India and China continues, to ensure that more meetings will happen at the level of Foreign Secretary and also the officials who are monitoring the border level disputes between India and China from both sides.
That's right, Ghazali. So major steps being taken to improve ties, and one of the key points also that the full disengagement has been achieved in eastern Ladakh.
Yeah, the External Affairs Minister also clarified that the full disengagement has been activated in eastern Ladakh. And also the major highlight, Gargi, is that the government is making it very clear that since the meeting between Prime Minister and Xi Jinping, the Chinese President, now the Indian government is very much concerned or is working towards improving the ties further. This is not something like a target which has been achieved, but it is a long overall process which will take much time to further it, and that is why more meetings are needed between the two parties, and officials from External Affairs Ministry, be it at the Foreign Secretary level or even the special representatives who monitor the border related situation, are going to meet further. But that schedule is not out yet, but I'm sure that the External Affairs Ministry will announce further when these meetings will happen. But a positive development and a comprehensive statement from the External Affairs Ministry of all what has happened in the last 4 years since we saw the clashes in in Galwan in 2020. And after that, we saw not much of talk or discussions happening at the top level. And only after 4 years in 2024, last month, when Prime Minister was in Russia for the BRICS, he met with Xi Jinping. And yet again, both the parties issued a very positive and forward-looking statement that how India and China will have to establish its ties, will have to sort of maintain stronger ties, not just for the good of two countries, but for the betterment of the entire globe.